All right. I'd like to start out by saying Barak Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Mecharadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Building in the Spirit, dated January 7th, 2021, the year of hastening the coming of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. As always, this particular lesson on building in the spirit is based off of scriptures that brothers put on a comment board, and then we'll just build in the spirit from that. So until brother puts a scripture up that we can go into, I found this. I wanted to just read this. We've been saying what the word edification means, so I just want to read this until brothers start putting up or posting any scriptures that we can go into and break down. All right, this is what is edification. It says Greek term oikodomeo. It says is defined as promoting the spiritual growth and development of character of believers by teaching or by example, suggesting such spiritual progress as a result of patient labor. Now, there was one that actually went into the word edified or edifice, which means to build. And the building is what? For spiritual growth. And that's what it is, building the spiritual house of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Brother GMS, Saint of the Most High, put Mark 3:27, no man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. All right, so let's deal with that. Since the brother put that one first, let's deal with that. Let's go there. Let's go to Mark 3:27. Before I go there, let's go start off with that. Mark chapter 3 verse 27. It says, no man, I'll start at 23. It says, and he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? Because they were saying he was casting out Satan, or he was casting them demons out by the spirit of Satan, right? And shalom to the Akim on the come board and Akwath. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. As we're seeing right now happening here in Babylon the Great, the house being divided, whether or not this stuff is staged, with the White House situation or not, it's still moving prophecy in a forward progression. So it says that if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And that's true. And this place has always been divided. It says, and if Satan rise up against Satan and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. So this is why this is happening, because what the Lord is doing is he's weakening the structure of America, financially, morally, socially, so on and so forth, right? And it says, no man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his goods. So this is dealing with Esau. I mean, you can use this as a general term of having someone that is strong, and unless you bind him, like in a situation with Samson, you're not going to be able to overcome him. And with the case with Samson, they tried to bind him with different things and they couldn't, because of his strength. But his strength was in his hair. When he gave up the secret and they cut his hair off, then he lost his strength. So Esau right now, they have the power and the strength over the whole world because they've been given something that has allowed them to have that power and dominion over the earth and over all peoples of the earth, and that is the blessing of the sword. When we go to Genesis 27 and 37, it says, and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy lord, because what Jacob did was Jacob supplanted Esau for the birthright, Actually, he supplanted Esau for the blessing, because first he supplanted him for the birthright, and Esau traded his birthright for a pot of, a pot of stew, so you could understand. It says, and then this time he supplanted him for his birthright. I'm sorry, for his blessing. It says, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, because from the beginning it was like that. When they were still, before they were even born, the Lord told Isaac and Rebekah that the elder shall serve the younger. So it was already set up like that in the spirit anyway. It says, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing? My father, bless me, even me also. O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And this is why Esau, and this is heavy that this happened, because this is pretty much the whole situation of the Most High not choosing him. That's why the Apostle Paul said, it's not of him that runneth or of him that willeth, but of the Most High that chooses, in so many words, because it's all about the election that the Lord set up. The Lord had Isaac, which was beloved in his sight, had two sons, one to be the righteous and one to be the wicked. And he chose the one that was righteous, which was Jacob. And he rejected the one that was wicked, which is Esau. So no matter what they do, they can't get that birthright back. And they're trying to get that birthright back through a lot of underhanded deeds, having Jake go off, committing adultery, being homosexuals, eating unlawful foods, and, forsaking their power. But the scriptures say that the Lord will choose Jacob still in Isaiah the 14th chapter. So no matter what you do, the Lord is going to still choose Jacob. He's going to kill 2/3 of them, but the rest of the 2/3 will come back through the 1/3 that make it out of here. So it says, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. And this is how you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Esau is the so-called white man. The Edomites are the so-called white people, because they're the ones that have the fatness of the earth and of the dew from and the dew of heaven from above. So when you look on the earth and you take account, as to who's the one that's really benefiting the most in the world today, it's none other than the so-called white man. And this is a blessing that was given to Esau, that this is what he would be doing, along with many other prophecies in the scriptures. This is one that lets you know who this man Esau would be today. It says, and by thy sword shalt thou live. So how are you going to acquire these things? By the sword. And what did Yahweh Shai say? He that liveth by the sword shall what? Shall die by the sword. This country was set up by chaos, by violence. So it's going to go out by chaos, by violence. Let's go to Revelation 18 and 20. And this is why now we're at the point now where we should be rejoicing, because we see our enemy going down. We see the destructuring of Esau, the Edomite empire. Revelation 18:20, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High hath avenged you on her. So the Most High is avenging us on this devil. Remember, the Lord got a beef with these nations for what? For the controversy of Zion. It says, and a mighty angel took up a stone, like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and should be found no more at all. Why? Because this great city Babylon was established upon violence. Isaiah 33:1, woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled. Did not Esau spoil? Did not he take this land from the so-called North American Indians, the so-called Seminole Indians, which are the tribes of Gad and Reuben? Did not he take it away from Issachar, the so-called Mexicans? So on and so forth. Canada, Central America, South America, the Caribbean islands, Bahamas and all that. He took it from the natives by violence. He spoiled them. He robbed them, under pretense of helping. It says, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. And one of the very first things that this devil Columbus said was that these men, they're beautiful people. They're very kind. They're very giving, very warm. And then what was his next thought? With 50 men, we could subdue them all. So when you when you stop spoiling, I'm saying, woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, meaning when you had enough to where you don't need to spoil anymore, meaning what? They've accomplished their raping and pillaging and murdering of the planet, and are about to establish their so-called New World Order. Thou shalt be spoiled, because all of those riches you're going to give them back, pursuant to Job, the 20th chapter, and other chapters. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. So with violence, this place is going to go down. And that's why you see so much division going on, so much chaos and anarchy. Whether it's staged or not, it's all a part of the movie that Yahweh Hashem El Shai is making. All right, so going back to Genesis 27, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And that happened when you go back to the book of 2 Kings during the time of the kings of Judah, where Esau revolted from under the hand of Israel. But now they're on the loose again, and now they're about to be subjected. But this time they're not going to get loose once they get subjected. So it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live. And this is who Esau is today, the so-called white man, because they have the military might. They've been given superior power over the nations, but not of themselves. It wasn't something that they were able to, put together themselves. It was something that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Al Shai gave them. There's Isaiah, because you've had guns and rifles and stuff like that for a good period of time. I mean, I don't really know the history on the guns and all that. Not really an interest to me, but you go back to the 1800s, 1700s, and in those times, you had Esau that had the gun. So that technology of weaponry has escalated far beyond anything that anybody could have ever imagined, from bow and arrow, spears, daggers, shields, to guns, to rifles and so on and so forth, to military power, laser power, and things of that nature. Isaiah 54:16, behold, I have created the smith that blew up the coals in the fire. The smith was the one that would work, on metal. He would heat the metal up and then forge the metal into whatever instrument that he was making, whatever weapon he was making, whether it was a shield, whether it was a helmet, whether it was a breastplate, whether it was a sword, whether it was whatever. But the modern day smiths today would be the scientists, which are the ones that are responsible for making these weapons that can be put into a propelling system called a missile to go from one point to another to cause major damage. The ultimate being the nuclear missiles that they've created. So the Lord gave them that power and that technology. Why? To destroy themselves, really. And so that he can judge them. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. See? So they bring forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. And what is the instrument for his work? Those missiles. Whatever technology of weapons they come up with. Ultimately, the missiles. And what did the Lord say? And I have created the waster to destroy, because this is what the Lord is going to use to destroy. So the Lord gave this devil the sword, gave him that power, that authority, has powerful allies. They have a powerful army with powerful weapons, but it's to be judged. And Revelation 6:3, it says, and when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red. Now this horse, a horse represents power. If it's not speaking about a horse, straight up horse, it's speaking about power in the scriptures. And the reason why I use the color red is because Esau is red. He's not white. He's not an off-white. He's not a dirty white. He's not a beige, as High Priest Ariah used to say. He's red. It says, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given unto him Your power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. And how did this devil take peace from the earth? It says, and they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a what? A great sword. This is code to let us know that this is talking about Esau. You know, who was the one that was given the power of the sword, and that by their sword they would live, and that they would receive the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven. And when you look upon the planet, this devil fits this. Because when you look upon the planet, these devils did not get the lands that they got by voting. They didn't get the lands that they got because a nation became so indebted to them that they just gave their lands away to them. No, it was all done through deception and through rape, robbing, murdering, pillaging. You know, it was done by the sword. And this is what happened. So when Yahushua was saying no man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods except he will first bind the strong man, and then will he spoil his house. Yahushua is coming to bind the strong man. Let's go to Isaiah 63. But before we go there, let's go here to Psalms chapter 60, verse 9. Who, this is King David. As you can see here, this is King David speaking of a future prophecy, right? Saying, who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom? Because Edom is that strong city. In other words, these Edomites would have that power of the sword today. Remember, the Lord said that the King David said that they're his sword. You know? And this was a power that the Lord gave them through the blessing of the sword. And this wasn't dealing with back then, because what did King David and Joab do? They destroyed all the males in Edom. But there wasn't just only Edomites there. So it's not talking about the ancient time, because if that's the case, why would King David make such a statement when him and Joab went through there and decimated the males out of there? Of course, there were more. They weren't just centered in the land of Edom. So this is something of the future. That's why he's saying, who will lead me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom? Because right now, Edom has control of the whole planet. And they have the power of the sword, which is a blessing that was given to them by Isaac, which Isaac is Yahushua. And now Yahushua is the same one that gave them the blessing, is coming back to take the blessing from them. You see? It says, will not thou, O Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, which had us cast us off, right? And we were casted off for a period of time. But now we're returning back to the good graces of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua by the ultimate sacrifice that Yahushua did 2,000 years ago. And this is why the spirit of truth, this knowledge, the whole, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Rachakodash, entered into his men in these times to build them up, to give them the understanding of the scriptures, or who the people of the scriptures are, to tell the world what is coming and what's happening, what's going to go down. So it says, will not thou, O Most High, which hadst cast us off, and thou, O Most High, which didst not go out with our armies? See? Give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. Because remember, in the curses it says that no man shall buy you, no man shall save thee. You're not going to even be able to save yourself. Because that is a part of what the Lord said. That's them curses. And there were, when you read the law, you had the law of redemption. To where if you fell in decay, you were poor, and then you had to sell yourself or your land to someone, to work for them because you were poor. Then either you, after you gain enough money, could buy your freedom, or somebody next of kin to you can pay to ransom you out of that situation. So in the case of the curses, there was no one that was able to redeem us from that. The only one that was able to do that is Yahushua. And he did that 2,000 years ago. So it says, give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. Through the Most High we shall do valiantly, for he it is that shall tread down our enemies. So when we're reading here, no man can enter into a strong man's house, this is dealing with Esau, and spoil his goods. Right, because the goods that this man has are who? Are what? Are goods that really belong to us. And they're going to turn over that good to us. They're going to bring those goods and bring them back to us because the Lord is going to make them do this. It said, except he will first bind the strong man and then he will spoil his house. And this is why Yahushua is coming back to visit Esau. Let's go real quick to 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 7. It says, then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And this is one thing that the prophets, they didn't understand everything in visions, but the one thing that they did understand is that they knew that one day the kingdom was coming, and the present rulership would have to be brought down in order for the kingdom to come. You see, that's why they were always inquiring about it. They wanted to know when the Messiah was going to come and suffer, and then the glory that would be revealed afterwards. It says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, because Jacob really is the rightful ruler of the planet. But the Lord allowed us to fall so that the world could be in the state that it's in, so that it can be rejuvenated and rebuilt back in righteousness. And there would be not only would the men of the Lord know good, but they will also know evil. And that would be a perfect judge to know both sides of the spectrum, so to speak, or both sides of the coin. You know, I make reference to, I forget his name. He's a judge. I think it's Judge Mathis. You know, he was out in the streets. You know, he was doing whatever he was doing, and he turned to he became a judge. So he's a better judge, you know, in certain situations. Why? Because he has experiences on both sides. You know, as a small example. You know, so it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So this is the deal. Esau is the end of this world. Esau is in Greg Mathis, the water brother. Esau is the ruler. They're the rulers of this world right now. So at the end of the world, they would be ruling. So they would have to be brought down. So how are they going to be brought down? Well, Yahushua is going to come and bind the strong man. See, he's going to bind the strong man. And we go to Isaiah 63. It says, who is this that cometh from Edom? This is not talking about ancient Edom. This is talking about modern day Edom, because modern day Edom today would represent the capital or the main land of Esau, which is what? America. It says, with dyed garments from Basra. What does the dyed garments represent? It means death. There's going to be a lot of death when Yahushua comes back, you know, to get busy on the earth. You know, and what we're seeing right now is just the tip of the iceberg with all this stuff that's going on. You know, all this madness that's happening right now. Isaiah 66:15, for behold, the Lord will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind. So Yahweh is going to send Yahushua with fire, which is the lasers from the chariots, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, which are the chariots. And they're going to come. It's going to be spectacular. And then Yahushua said, I am come to send fire on earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? It says to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire, because you have to remember that the Lord is angry. You see? And that's why it says, what if the Most High, willing to show his power, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction? So the Lord wants to smash this place, but he's bound by his word. It says, for by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. See? So when we read here, it says, who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This is the judgment that Yahushua is coming to bring to destroy Esau's kingdom. And once these, if they're not in there already, once these international banking families are in those bunkers, when the blood part of it is going to be actual people with blood, but their society, their dreams, their aspirations, their goals are going to be melted. They're going to be destroyed when Yahushua comes to destroy this place. And they're immediate thought after the destruction is, oh, well, we just got to start all over again. No, it ain't going to be like that, because the starting all over again would be us kicking down them doors or wherever shelter you're at and carting your monkey ass right into slavery. You know? Because you international banking families, you rich men of the earth, amongst Esau, amongst Moab, all you other nations, you're going to be the first ones to taste of slavery. You know, and you're going to be bringing back some of the ones here that dropped dead, that are killed. It says, this that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength, because Yahushua said he's not coming back to meet thee as a man. So this is why he says in Mark 3:27, no man can enter into a strong man's house, Esau's house, and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. And this is what Yahushua is coming to do. He's coming to spoil the strong man's house, which is Esau. And when we go to Obadiah 1 and 5, it says, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? See, because they're going to be cut off. But the cutting off of them is going to be total desolation of his kingdom of America. Total cutting off. So the Lord is showing through the mouth of Obadiah how it says, would they not have stolen till they had enough? Yeah, because a thief can only carry so much. After a while, they say, you know, we got to get out of here while we're ahead. But when the Lord comes to steal, like the scripture say that Yahushua is coming as a thief in the night, there ain't going to be nothing left. It says, would they not have stolen till they had enough? If grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Yeah, they would leave some grapes, because that was part of the law. You know, you were supposed to not glean everything so that the poor of the people could eat. That was a welfare system back then. But then when the Lord comes back, ain't going to be nothing left. It says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? And this is what's happening. They're being exposed. But when the Lord comes back to get this man, there ain't gonna be nothing left. There ain't gonna be no stone. There ain't gonna be no borders. There ain't gonna be no flags left. There ain't gonna be no gas stations, no Capitol buildings, or none of that. It's all gonna be wiped out. So it says, traveling in the greatness of his strength. Yeah, because Yahushua is coming back as a glorious power. He's coming in his glorified state. He ain't coming like he did 2,000 years ago. You know, he's coming in his glorified state to kick you in your ass. You can read about this in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. You can read about it in Revelation, the 12th chapter, Revelation, the 19th chapter. You know, I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save, because he's the one that's coming to save us. These people, these Israelites out here that are trying to, you know, get their guns and practice at the shooting range and all that. Look, if you have a gun, as long as it's lawful, ain't nothing wrong with that. But that's not what's going to save you. Because there's been many instances where people have had guns, and the people that they try to pull out on end up taking it from them and killing them with their own gun. So it says, wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? Yeah, because this is not that there's going to actually be blood on his garments, but the action of it is going to be attributed to Yahushua. He's going to get the credit for taking these devils down. This is Revelation 19 and 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. Now the white horse, white represents purity, horse is power. This is dealing with Yahushua. He that sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness he does judge and make war. And that's what he's coming to do. He's coming to make war. Because you have this heathen, this demon, you know, called the Edomites. They are in power and rulership, and they are in the way of Yahushua getting his kingdom. It says his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. So there weren't actually many crowns on his head, although when John saw this, he saw a bunch of crowns on the Lord's head. But that wasn't talking about when the Lord comes back, he's going to have, you know, the crown of Moab and the crown of Edom. You know, nah. It's attributed to him. He's getting the credit for taking all of these nations down. Matter of fact, before we read on, let's go real quick to Daniel 7 and 9. Hey, Barakate, how about Shem Shai, man? You see how, like, just through the Spirit, man, how just one precept and brothers are lighting the comment board up. I can't even get to the comment board right now. Daniel 7 and 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down. What thrones? The rulerships of this planet. The main rulership is who? The Edomites, Esau, the Romans, the Greeks, Romans, which are the Edomites. Because their kingdom is the one that's still in power today, that came back to life, so to speak. It says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down. All of these nations fell. It says, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his his wheels as burning fire. That's talking about the chariots. And then when the thrones were cast down, what happened? Eventually, all of these riches, from these different nations, including them as slaves, as concubines, are going to be turned over into the hands of Yahushua. And this is what he's coming to claim his throne. You devils have been sitting on the throne for too long. Now it's time for you to go down, because you're not the rightful rulers. The rightful ruler begins with Yahweh Bashem Yahushua and the Israelites. And you're going to be taken out of that position of rulership, and that position of rulership is going to be turned over to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua and the Israelites. You see? So going back to Revelation 12, his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his heads were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. And they try to say, Nate and them try to say that, that means that we don't know the Lord's name. Well, we know the Lord's name is Yahushua. If for argument's sake, if he does have another name, then we'll find out in the kingdom, that he knows. But the name that we were given to call upon is what? Yahushua. There's no other name under heaven that among men that is given, that they shall be saved by, but by Yahushua. And Nate and them, right? They say Most High in Christ blessed, right? Well, the word Christ means anointed, but that's not the Lord's name. That's a title. Here it says, it uses the name right here. Acts 4 and 10. But be it known unto you all and to all the people of Israel that by the name of Yahushua, or here it says Jesus Christ of Nazareth. So you're supposed to say both names then, if you want to go that route. But anyway, that goes into something else. All right, so now let's go back to Isaiah 63 and 2. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and that garment like him that treadeth in the wine fat, because he's going to get the recognition for this act. Okay, I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people that was done with me. Yeah, because Yahushua is coming back as an angelic force. That's why he said, I will not meet thee as a man, for I will tread them in mine anger and trample them in my fury. And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. So there's going to be a lot of bloodshed coming down the pike. It says, for the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. Yeah, so Yahushua has two goals in mind. Come down here and avenge himself of his enemies, establish himself, on the earth as king, and redeeming his elect that he purchased with his blood. How about that? And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury, it upheld me. Because remember, he's been thinking about this for the last, it's 2 days in the spirit world, 2,000 years here, about getting vengeance on his enemies and be able to enjoy his kingdom that he committed that great sacrifice for 2,000 years ago. He's waiting to sit back up on his throne. And I will tread down the people in mine anger and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. All right. So, it goes on more, but that's the main verses on that. Just building off of what the brother said in Mark 3:23. All right. So now let's see. And shalom, to the elders, Akim, Akwath on the comment board. trying to go back and see, what else we could find. Because I know brothers put up some precept. Let's see. Just trying to see if I could find another. Let's see. Wow, that's a good one. That one goes good with the lesson. Amana Kodash. It says Isaiah 49:25. But the I guess it's supposed to be, but thus saith the Lord, even the captives of the mighty shall be taken away, and the prey of the terrible shall be delivered. For I will contend with him that contend with thee, and I will save thy children. Yeah, and that's what we hoping and praying for. All right, so now this is a good one too. GMS Idan, 2nd Ezra 4:29. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. And that's true, because that is what we're waiting for. This is why Esau, is about to be taken away, because there's a promise. There's a promise that the Lord made concerning this world. Because as we read in 1 John, let's go to 1 John real quick. The 5th chapter and the 19th verse, and we know that we are of the Most High, and the whole world lieth in wickedness. So if the whole world lieth in wickedness, what has to be done? This world has to be taken away so that the new kingdom can come and be established. Because there's another one in Hebrews, I believe it's in Hebrews. It's also in Haggai. Let's see, Hebrews chapter 1. Hebrews 1:10. And thou, Lord, in the beginning hast laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the works of thine hands, which is dealing with, you have the heavens where the Most High is. You have the heavens when you look up into the skies, and then you have heaven on earth, which is the what's the word I'm looking for? A condition played out on the earth, a heavenly condition. So he's dealing here with the conditions of the heavenly conditions on the earth. They shall perish, but thou remainest. See, because what's going to happen, the Lord is going to bring that fire, nuclear fire, the fire from the lasers of the chariots, and take this world down to reestablish another world, which is the world in righteousness. They shall perish, but thou remainest, and they all shall wax old as doth a garment. See? And this is a direct quote, I believe, from the book of Haggai. And as a vesture shalt thou fold them up, and they shall be changed. And that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the changing of the guard. Matter of fact, let's see what that term means. Since that came to mind. Let's see. It says, changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace is a ceremony where the Queen's Guard hands over responsibility for protecting Buckingham Palace and St. James Palace to the new guard. Yep. So there's going to be a changing of the guards. And as a vesture shalt thou fold them up, and they shall be changed, but thou art the same, and thy years shall not fail. So that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for a change of world. As a book, I believe that was Elder Abba Bivens that wrote the book, if I'm not mistaken, a change of world or something like that, because there's going to be a great transition. This world cannot keep going on the way it is because it's corrupt, it's wicked. So there's going to be a changing of the guard, and that's a part of Esau's strongholds being taken down. This is Ecclesiasticus 10 and 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So there's going to be a transfer of wealth, a transfer of power, a transfer of worlds. Because this world that's coming belongs to Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and the Israelites. You know? So it's about to go down. So going to 2 Peter 3 and 11, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved. What things? This society, this, especially all of America, the whole of America is going to be totally wiped out. Elements shall melt with fervent heat. As we read up above this, it says, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, especially in these times that we're living in now. You know, what manner of conversation should we be having? It says, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of Yahweh, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Salaki was actually below. So the elements are going to melt with fervent heat. These buildings, as you see in let's see, Terminator 2, nuclear fire. Let's see if that comes up. Nuclear fire. Right, here we go. Just up it's off. See? Elements shall melt with fervent heat. You see? But the thing is that none of the fence ain't going to be there. The bones ain't going to be there. All of that wall of fire that's coming with the missiles is going to take everything out. See how it's blowing all that away, destroying everything? But they're making it seem like it's just a little, you know, everything's going to be dissolved. See how there's nothing left in this path? All of that's going to be gone. The fence is going to be gone. The metal, horsey and all that stuff, everything's going to be gone. There ain't going to be nothing left. So we see that approaching. You see, we see that day approaching. So that's why it says, what manner of conversation shall we have? And then it says, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, whose promise? Yahweh's promise. When you go back to the Old Testament, this speaks about the same thing, which this is what the Apostle Peter was referring back to. It says, nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. Now, is it going to be an actual new heaven and a new earth? No. It's going to be the same heaven, the same earth, but it's going to be under new management. It's going to be cleaned up. Ecclesiastes 1 and 4. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. So the earth will always be here. Earth is not going to change. But what's going to change is the guard, the people that are ruling, the whole spirit. It's going to be under another vibration. It's going to be under new management. So going back, it says, nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that you look for such things, be diligent that you may be found in him in peace, without spot and blameless. And that's why not only are the prophecies turned up, not only is what these devils doing in the world turned up, but also the actual speaking, the actual teachings are turned up, because we're at that time right now. Matter of fact, this brother put an excellent scripture here. Amanah Gabar, Zechariah 14:12. Amath Gabar. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. And you can find about this plague also in the book of 2nd Ezra's, I believe it's either the 15th chapter or the 16th chapter. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And what can do that? That nuclear fire, as we just witnessed here. That's that plague that's going to cause that to happen. And these devils, they know the scriptures. They've read through the scriptures. They know that this stuff is coming. But they're trying to sidetrack it, sidestep it. Yeah, this is beautiful right here. The brother Yashalom Sirach 10 and 4. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. And that's the truth. That's the truth. No, one that is profitable will be set up over it. All right, so let's see what else we got here. All right, so that's it on that. So pretty much with that, the point has been made. But you see how through the Spirit, Barak Te'ahal Bashem Shai, the brother put that one precept at the beginning of the lesson, Matthew, or either Matthew or Mark 3:27, I believe it was, and how the Spirit just took over and just built the whole lesson around that. Brothers posting scriptures, So, and I couldn't get to all of you brothers' scriptures, so Salakia, y'all brothers was lighting it up. But with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified. To the next time I say Shalom.